Hi, how you doing? Welcome to my channel, Mother's Tarot. I am I became an experiencer in 1968. Uh, the first books began with Shirley MacLaine, Out on a Limb, and then Ruth Montgomery, her books, followed by Edgar Casey. Many more authors would follow. This was a natural path into my mystical arts of divination using tarot, etc. So that's kind of how I got here. Thank you to my subscribers and all the new viewers. Welcome. You are in a safe place, and please like and subscribe. Today's video is about Billy Meier. Because I am doing a live on Monday, the 17th of July, 2023, with Val on her channel, Dragonfly Crystals. And she had done a short video on Edward Meier delivering a message. And so I reached out to her, and we're going to do a live together. And in that, part of the topics will be that I'm an experiencer. And I have been since 1968. Now, what I'm going to do today as an introduction about Billy Meier. Billy Meier, on the 5th of July in 1951, at 14 years of age, wrote a letter. Let's see, I think I need to. He wrote a long letter to those in charge in the world and made 3,000 copies with the help of his teacher, Gustave Le Bon, and sent it to all the governments of Earth, as well as to decisive organizations, newspapers, journals, and schools, and so forth, without ever receiving an answer to it, and without anything being undertaken by those addressed in the letter. Now, Billy Meier is born and raised in Switzerland. And the life of Billy Edward Albert Meier, his full name, is referred to as a poison pill by ufologists in the United States. Always has been. He's had a life rich with all manner of experiences and accomplishments in many countries, many of which were difficult, many thoroughly normal and boring too. Nonetheless, personally important and useful for his evolution and mission in life. He is among the very few individuals who have put their entire life out into the public domain. Nevertheless, he's a relatively private man who averts showmanship. A reasonable amount of his written works have a somewhat serious tone, dealing with substantial matters of importance and worth, making him a thoroughly interesting gentleman. Yeah, get it right here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to give you a little background before I start, or a couple of tidbits before I read the letter. Dr. Michael Mallon is an associate professor of planetary science at Arizona State University. He wrote his doctoral thesis on the computer analysis of spacecraft images beamed back from Mars. Mallon said concerning the Mir photographs, which he analyzed in 1981, "I find the photographs themselves credible. They're good photographs. The story that some farmer in Switzerland is on a first-name basis with dozens of aliens who came to visit him, people find that incredible. But Mullen finds the photographs more credible. They're reasonable evidence. Steve Ambrose, sound engineer for Stevie Wonder and inventor, showed Meier films in 1978 to Robert Nathan at JPL Photolab. Nathan couldn't figure out how Meier flew the ship into a scene and had it come to a sudden halt. Now remember, this is 1978. Or how it hovered, motionless, while a pine branch in the lower right corner blows in a stiff wind. That's just a couple little tidbits. Okay. Okay, I'll read this part just in case I didn't get all that in. Billy, at 14 years of age, wrote a long letter to those in charge in the world and made 3,000 copies with the help of his teacher, Gustave Le Monde, and sent it to all the governments of Earth, as well as to decisive organizations, newspapers, journalists, and schools, and so forth, without ever receiving an answer to it and without anything being undertaken by those addressed in the letter. Billy Edward A. Meier composed and formulated his letter in accordance with prophetic and predicting statements and explanations which had been presented to him by his fatherly Palladian friend, Thoth. That's spelled Sfath. Thoth. That's how I'm going to say it. Billy Edward Albert Meier, a controversial author and teacher, was born in Bulach, Bulach, Switzerland, on the 3rd of February, 1937, and currently resides at the Simjaz Silver Star Center in Hinterschmadriste, Switzerland. Yeah, I don't speak Swiss, but this is how you spell the city or the town. HINTERSCHMIDRUTI. That's in Switzerland. Okay, here's a translation of Open Letter to All Human Beings of Earth, dated the 5th of July, 1951. Okay. To all those in charge in the world, responsible for the welfare of the earth and its entire humankind, are, first and foremost, in addition to individual people of all nations, the authorities and their appointed governments, and to all those in charge of administration and governments, as well as to every single human being, I want to speak the following words of warning. My fatherly friend Thoth instructed me by means of prophecy and prediction in many kinds of things which will come about on earth in the future and will bring unpleasant things. I want to lay out these things which can be partly altered, however, in part, will unalterably come about as follows. It was 6 years ago that World War II, which lasted from 1939 to 1945 and cost the lives of approximately 62 million human beings. Is that million? Yeah. Million human beings, came to its inglorious end. What thousand? Okay, 62, there's 6 zeros behind it. Okay. Even atomic energy was employed for the murder of hundreds of thousands of human beings and for the destruction of their cities through the irresponsible and criminal action of the USA when the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed by atom bombs. Unfortunately, all that will, however, not be the end of all terrors, mass murder, wars, and acts of terror. If the human beings of all nations do not finally become sensible enough to relieve their power-greedy government bosses of their offices and let them turn tail and run. He's 14 years old. Okay, he's writing this. He's gotten the information from his Palladian fatherly figure. Basically, it is the people in each country who choose those who govern. Normally, unfortunately, it is the insincere ones who first make great promises in order then, when they come into power, to start war and terror, and with lies and deceit cast a spell over the peoples, whereby they become dependent on their superiors and fail to recognize the real truth. That, however, will bring evil consequences in the future, because worldwide, if the people do not intervene against it, those who have the authority of the state will embroil the people more and more in wars, terror, and hate, until the whole thing takes on uncontrollable forms worldwide. The time for this is no longer very far away, because already these monstrous things glow in a smoldering fire which will already become an open fire in the next few years. There is still time to stop the monster which is prophesied for the future of the entire terrestrial humankind and for Earth and its nature. Now I'm going to read that again to you. When I read that sentence, I thought, they're talking about other planets, other worlds, not just Earth. Listen to it. There is still time to stop the monster which is prophesied for the future of the entire terrestrial humankind and for Earth and its nature. Arresting countermeasures can still change everything for the better if the people and all those in charge in the governments, the administration, the sciences, and the military, as well as all others who have responsibility for it, most rigorously trouble themselves to put a stop to all evils and bring a positive change to everything. I'm going to interrupt a little bit if you're still with me. After I'm done reading the letter, I'm going to pull some oracle cards from 3 different decks. So hang in with me. This is really important. We're all in this together. I'll continue. If that does not happen, then unimagined horrors are imminent, whereby in every respect the world power, United States of America, will at the very forefront lead the sword of death, as well as the destruction and alienation, while Israel and all those countries who will nestle in sanctimonious friendships with the United States of America will toe the line, and indeed against the will of the rational elements of the respective peoples. Not only will wars, terror, destruction, and alienation, with thousands of deaths and hundreds of thousands of murdered human beings, mark the future, but also will a monstrous overpopulation, which will be to blame for the fact that all the laws of nature will go thrown out of kilter. Will get thrown out of kilter. The human being will be to blame that all storms will increase and will assume more and more forceful forms. Thus hailstorms, blizzards, and flooding rains, as the ozone layer will also, however, become very dangerously damaged. Monstrous deluges will increasingly become the order of the day because due to overpopulation, the alluvial forests and floodplains will become altered in function to become residential areas, whereby the wild waters of the flooding rain will find their way into the houses of the human beings, because the waters can no longer escape into uninhabited wetland areas. Landslides and avalanches, as well as earthquakes and seaquakes, as well as storms of every kind, will prevail. Gales and typhoons, hurricanes and tornadoes, which will increase ever more in their numbers and will become ever more forceful and destructive. And also, therewith, overpopulation will bear the blame, because overpopulation will evoke monstrous negatives and will thereby give rise to the unnatural climate change, which in only 1 decade from today will already begin to affect the world very detrimentally. The monstrous mass and weight of the cities and villages continually plague the inner structure of the earth more and more, through which the tectonics are adversely affected, which inevitably increasingly leads to tectonic displacements and faults, through which immense tremors are invoked worldwide, whereby finally the deaths will go into the hundreds of thousands and into the millions. And these tremors also have influence on the Earth's entire volcanic activity. Consequently, also the volcanoes, which worldwide, in many cases, are interconnected, become ever more frequently and more destructively active. That will also demand the lives of many human beings. Indeed, especially in those areas where unreasonable habitations are built too closely to volcanoes, and it's also the case on ocean beaches and on great rivers and seas, where the immediate shorelines are built up, which are to an enormous extent flooded by storm waves and tsunamis, which will demand very many human lives. Yet that is not all, because through the continually growing overpopulation, which in 50 years, now he's talking from 1951, which in 50 years will have already grown to over 6 billion, as in predicted, many monstrous and insoluble problems will appear. Famine will increase, while old illnesses believed to be eradicated will return. As a result of mass tourism from the industrialized countries, along with economic refugees from all over the world, the industrialized countries will become inundated, while a monstrous problem with asylum seekers will become just as insoluble. And it is predicted that at the end of the 80s, the economic boom will collapse and monstrous and unprecedented unemployment will break out, whereby criminality due to unemployment will climb, just as it will will because of criminal gangs from the so-called third world countries who spread out into the industrialized countries and will not even shy away from murder in the pursuit of their misdeeds. Also, national debts climb beyond measure, as do terroristic extremists and Nazism and so forth. Prostitution, as predicted by SOF, will take on unbelievable forms and will go public worldwide, such that even children are not spared from it. In the next few decades, prostitution will become a respectable profession, which will be acknowledged officially by the authorities and will also be classified as taxable. Televisions, already invented, will in every family belong just as much to everyday life as will the technology of the computer, which is already diligently being worked on in America, Germany, Japan, and the Soviet Union. This is 1951 he's talking from. The television and the computer will become the most important information media. However, also the significant forms of public advertising of prostitution human beings in the course of the last 50 years will become cold in their thoughts and feelings, whereby interpersonal relationships will produce ever stranger effects and will only be for serving a particular purpose. True love will become a rarity, and many marriages will only take place in order to indulge in a certain status associated with prestige and money. The result will be that many marriages will no longer hold together, families will be destroyed, and the offspring, along with being sexually abused, will also become asocial and neglected. Already at the end of the 50s, human beings, particularly the young, will begin to lead a life which is often only aligned with drugs, and then later, with the time of the 80s approaches, the drug problem will take the upper hand, whereby only pleasure will be meaningful and destructive, and dissonant sounds will characterize the world of music, whereby the psyche will be impaired and the entire behavior of those human beings who align themselves with this destructive type of music will succumb to negativity. Excuse me just a moment. Okay, come on. Come on. Come on. Jasmine. Okay. In the realm of sectarianism, those supposedly chosen by God will emerge more and more to financially exploit their believers, make them dependent, and even drive them to suicide. Irresponsible ones will use the time in order to become rich by means of their faithful supporters, especially when they spread fear and terror concerning the turn of the millennium, because they will claim that the world will come to an end in the year 2000. Then there will not even be a shying away from spreading lies that extraterrestrials will rescue the chosen ones. However, naturally, only if they hand over large sums of money to the sect leaders. Much more will be brought about by the growing overpopulation, which is fundamentally the actual source of all evil things of the future, because the greater the overpopulation becomes, the greater the problems arising from it will become. Thus, new epidemics will appear, and indeed already in the coming 80s, demanding millions of human lives. and indeed epidemics which will be transferred from animals to people, while there will also be epidemics in the more distant future when they will be brought to Earth from outer space. Yeah, you heard that right. However, all that concerning epidemics coming from animals and spreading to human beings will be disputed by those in charge, and they will slander as liars those who are knowledgeable about the real truth. If the world and its humankind are thus destroyed, then it is the earth human being himself who is the originator, whereby he creates the real cause by driving his overpopulation into ever-increasing numbers. Have you heard? We've got birth control on Earth. Okay. Therefore, it will not be an imaginary god of some religion or sect who determines the coming monstrous problem and outgrowths, but solely the human being of Earth, who is in his delusion, believes himself to be the highest, mightiest being in the universe, far higher than creation can ever be. I've spoke before about the arrogance. Yeah. Sorry. Here we go. Due to the fault of the human being, through his overpopulation, through his megalomania, through his unreasonableness and overbearingness, he challenges all the powers of nature, which together with the earth rise up and defend themselves against the degrading machinations of the earth's human being. Thus, the forces of nature on earth, together with earth itself, overflow because the human being disturbs and destroys the entire natural course of the elements and life. I have all that to say because it is the prophetic and at the same time the predicted truth. All of you who learn of these words from me grasp the courage to consider what has been said and to draw the right conclusions from it and to behave correctly, because there is still time. However, it has already begun to slip through your fingers. Consider these prophecies and predictions and act with a mind for a change for the better. Also make everything public for all the human beings of earth by means of instructions in all media in order to achieve an alteration and transformation in a positive sense, and in order to protect earth and its entire humankind from all inequity, from all evil, from all degradations, from the many deaths and destruction, and from the step into alienation. All of you who receive my letter have the possibility, the might, and the responsibility to promote the earth and its humanity from all that I have revealed to you. Do not hesitate, rather act, and indeed quickly, because time is pressing. If you do not act immediately, then you are just as responsible. If the prophecies fulfill themselves, as all those who in the future will cause their fulfillment, do not hesitate, rather act, and indeed quickly, because time is pressing. If you do not act immediately, then you are just as responsible if the prophecies fulfill themselves as all those who in the future will cause their fulfillment. Edward Albert Meier, 5th of July, 1951. He wrote this at the age of 14. He sent out 3,000 copies. Okay. All right. Well, so that was that. I'm going to pull uh, some cards, oracle cards. We'll begin with angels and ancestors. One of the special things, there's just way too much. Billy Meier is still alive today at this reading. There's so much on his life. There's been 3 or 4 documentaries made on his life by a man who, Michael Horn, I think is his name. And he shadowed Billy, meaning he lived there, followed him around, witnessed it. So, and one of the greatest things that he ever did, I believe, is all of these predictions, the events, discovery of planets and different things, he copyrighted, patent and copyright, one of the two or both. And so they were recorded. And then, and then our scientists discover these things months, years, decades after Billy Meier has said this is what's coming down. Of course, by the Palladians, his Palladian family, tribe that has been with him his entire life. And I believe his story starts around 6 years of age. It's been a long time since I've watched all the documentaries, but I did watch them all. I believe it was in 2019, because I put a letter together and sent it to every one of my siblings and one aunt, at least, cousin. Yeah, there's people I sent it out to. Yeah. We can have a brand new world if we can take it. Okay, here we go. Medicine Mother. Honor your inner knowing. Okay. Ancestors and angels. I'm going to read that one. And because this is quite a pill to swallow. I know it is. For all of us. Okay, I think I found it. Here we go. Medicine Mother. Take action. Do what you know you need to do. Mother always knows best, they say, and it's true. We all know a maternal figure who's extremely intuitive and insightful, and this medicine mother has gone through many ups and downs. She has lived and she has lost. She knows what it's like to suffer and to want to give up. So the medicine of this card is that it's okay to make mistakes and get it wrong sometimes. And it's okay for things to come to an end. It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of one chapter and the beginning of something new. The medicine mother reminds you that even though you will have low lows, you aren't here to suffer. You're here to be supported and to support others. Let her give you the loving encouragement to take the next step forward. There is an old pattern rising up in you now, and it's time to deal with it and release it for good. You're being encouraged to love and respect yourself enough to take the steps you know you need to take to move closer to where you'd like to be. You already know the answers. You know what you need to do. You may have been using delaying tactics or holding back, but now you're being guided to take action. Action requires courage, but your angels and guides are bringing you the courage to move forward. Take just one step. When you do, the next one will be presented to you. Yeah. I know she's talking to me because here I am putting out there something that not too many people want to look at or think about. It's hard, but we need to do it. Okay, now I'm going to pull a card from the Sacred Traveler. Yeah, that letter I sent out to my family, relatives. It was, I talked to my aunt. And I had never talked to her about the woo-woo stuff before. You know? Yeah. She still loves me, still talks to me, you know. So it's my cousin, my siblings and stuff. But they know. I'm going to speak. Sacred Traveler. We drew, begin now. Take your first step. And this picture, yeah, right there. It's Billy Meier. I get dizzy trying to do this stuff. Okay, begin now. I'm going to read it out of the book. Is this one now? Here we go. I found it. Just because I think we all need to hear this. Every journey starts with the first step. There is no moment better than the present one to begin. You might not feel ready, but nevertheless, it's now time to start. A new cycle is beginning. Wipe the slate clean and get going. Release familiar routines, stagnant situations, or challenging relationships that no longer support you or empower you. You are at the end of an old cycle and beginning of a new and exciting one. Set your sails for a new horizon. The Sacred Traveler wants you to know there are times when the traveler needs to separate from family, friends, and acquaintances to enter new places within himself or herself. Sometimes the traveler must go beyond what is familiar in order to be open to transformation and change. Thus, the journey brings a heightened sense of awareness and ignites mindfulness. Sometimes it can feel difficult to take that first step, but unless you do, you'll never know the joy of fulfillment that awaits you. Do it now. In the words of Lao Tzu's, a journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Yeah, we've all heard that too. Yeah. Okay, now the last card I'm going to pull is from the Metaphysical Cannabis Oracle deck. All right. I hope you're still with me. I know this is a tough topic for most people. Many, many people. Most people. It's a tough area. And I've been told that I'm part of the team that is supposed to help move us forward. So, and we all need to help each other move forward. All of us. Mankind evolves. You didn't stop, smell the roses, and hang out. You know? We smell the roses along the way with everything else we're handed in order to evolve. We are in the midst of a paradigm shift. And the sooner we can manage to become aware, the more we will benefit for it and won't find it as difficult. We help each other. That's what we're supposed to do. We are here to love ourselves and to love the others. Didn't say which ones. It said the others. Don't account for sex, species, or whatever. Oh, okay. We've got, I've never pulled this one before. Dance Portal. Let go. Yeah. Okay. Let me see what this one says. The messages in these cards have been really great. I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't sure. Okay, who am I looking for here? Okay, just this Dance Portal. Okay. Hold on, these aren't. Oh, okay, here's the index. I'm sorry. Here we go. Got it. All right. It says, I am grateful that my vital source of life force provides me with motivation and energy to live life in full flow. Okay. This card has been accompanying playlists on Spotify. Mako Dance. Okay, search Mako Dance. Your body needs to move. You need to dance like you just received news of an unexpected inheritance. Hey. The dance card is a full manifestation activation station. Hydrate and get in the groove. This card appears when you may be going to see your favorite band, if your favorite song came on the radio, or you heard a song that brought back, does that say? Yeah, hard memories. Turn up the volume and have that dance party without thinking twice. You will inspire someone else to do the same. Music is the universal language that can help integrate the many paths life takes us down. Yeah, sure can. It's wonderful. Okay, well, that's it for this video. I hope you made it to the end with me. I love you. You've all been wonderful and supportive, and I really appreciate that. So, comment if you like. Let me know what you think. Tell me I'm off my rocker. Yeah, whatever. It's okay. And, but I love you. Take care of yourself. Take real good care of yourself. Remember to breathe deeply once in a while. One time during the day, it really helps. 3 deep breaths. So, anyway. And please check out the live. This video is it's StreamYard, so it'll come out on the 18th or on the 16th. Today's 15th. It'll come out on the 16th, Sunday, July 2023. And then Val with Dragonfly Crystals. Her and I will be live simulcasting Monday, July 17th at 1 p.m. Pacific. So please come join us. You don't have to talk about Billy Meier if you don't want to. If you got a different question, hey, that's totally cool. Ask, and we'll do reads, mini reads as time allows. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Okay, I hope to see you there, and I love you. Bye for now. I'll see you in the next video.